Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
As chairman of the commission, I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to order at 10 a.m. This Zoom webinar is being live streamed on YouTube on the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission YouTube channel. For anyone in the public watching who would prefer to watch via a different platform than they are currently using, please visit our social media at Redistricting MI. Our live stream today includes closed captioning. Closed captioning, ASL interpretation, in addition to Spanish, Arabic, and Bengali translation services will be provided for effective participation in this morning's meeting. Please email us at redistricting@michigan.gov for additional viewing options or details on accessing language translation services for this meeting. People with disabilities needing other specific accommodations should also contact redistricting@michigan.gov. This meeting is being recorded and will be made available on our website, www.michigan.gov/micrc for viewing at a later date. This meeting is also being transcribed, and those closed caption transcripts will be made available and posted on the michigan.gov/micrc website, in addition to written public comment submissions. There's also a public comment portal that may be viewed and accessed by visiting the website, which is once again www.michigan.gov/micrc. Members of the media who have questions before, during, or after the meeting should direct those questions to Edward Woods III, Executive Director of the Commission at woodse3@michigan.gov. For the public watching and the public record, I'll now turn to Department of State staff to take note of the commissioners present.
It looks like Yvonne unmuted herself, but I'm not able to hear her. Yvonne, are you there? Okay, I will go ahead and take roll. Bear with me just a moment, commissioners. Commissioners, when I call your name, please state that you're present and tell the public where you're attending this meeting remotely from. I'll begin with Commissioner Andrade.
Present from Inlay Township, Michigan.
Thank you. Commissioner Callahan.
Present, attending remotely from Mexico.
Commissioner Curry.
Present and attending remotely from Detroit, Michigan.
Commissioner Eid.
Good morning, Ms. Shar. Present, remotely attending from Detroit, Michigan.
Commissioner Kellum. Commissioner Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Lake County, Michigan.
Commissioner Lett.
Present, attending from Grant Township, Michigan.
Commissioner Muldoon.
Present from Carlton, Michigan.
Commissioner Orton.
Present, attending remotely from Battle Creek, Michigan.
Commissioner Zatella.
Present, attending remotely from Wayne County, Michigan.
Commissioner Vallette.
Attending remotely from Highland Township, Michigan.
Commissioner Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Eaton County, Michigan.
Commissioner Weiss.
Present, attending remotely from Saginaw Township, Saginaw, Michigan.
And I'll go back to Commissioner Kellum. Chair, with 12 commissioners present, you do have a quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We will now move to adopt the agenda. As a reminder to the public watching, you can view this morning's agenda on our website, www.michigan.gov/micrc. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Commissioner Zatella, I see your hand.
Yeah, I'd actually want to make a motion to amend it. I'd like to amend unfinished business 5C, move it up to 5A, so that the new order would be, A would be notice to vacate legal expense, B would be State of Michigan Archives, C would be University of Michigan Archives, and so on.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion and a second to reorder the agenda. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 All those opposed, please raise your hand and say nay.
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 Can we get a roll call vote on that, please?
Absolutely. Commissioners, the motion is to amend the agenda, moving unfinished business 5C, notice to vacate legal expense to the beginning of unfinished business, and then proceeding with the rest of the list from there. So State of Michigan Archives becomes unfinished business B, and so on. A yes vote means that you are in favor of amending the agenda in this way. A no vote means that you are not. I will begin in alphabetical order with Commissioner Andrade.
Nay.
Commissioner Callahan.
Nay.
Commissioner Curry.
Yes.
Commissioner Eid.
You can abstain on this one.
What is the basis for abstention?
Conflict of interest.
Commissioner Kellum. I don't think she's joined. Commissioner Lang.
Yes.
Commissioner Lett.
Nay.
Commissioner Muldoon.
Yes.
Commissioner Orton.
Nay.
Commissioner Zatella.
Yes.
Commissioner Vallette.
Nay.
Commissioner Wagner.
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss.
Nay.
With a vote of 5 yes to 6 no with 1 abstention, the motion does not pass.
All right, thank you, Ms. Shar. Is there a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
I move we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented, as it was sent out to us. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor to adopt the agenda, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Please raise your hand and say nay.
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 All right, the ayes have it and the agenda is adopted.
They're so funny.
Next on the agenda is public comments. If there's no objection, commissioners, we'll begin the public comment portion for today's meeting. Is there any objection? Hearing none, we'll move on. Individuals who have signed up and indicated they would like to provide remote public commentary to the commission will now be allowed. I'll call your name and our staff will unmute you. If you are on a computer, you'll be prompted by the Zoom app to unmute your microphone and speak. If you are on the phone, a voice will say the host wants you to speak and prompt you to press *6 to unmute. I will call you by your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number. Please note if you're experiencing technical or audio issues or we do not hear from you for 3 to 5 seconds, we'll move on to the next person in line and return to you after they are done speaking. If your audio still does not work, you can email us redistricting@michigan.gov and we will help you troubleshoot so you can participate during the next public comment period at our next meeting. You'll have 90 seconds to address the commission, and please conclude your remarks when you hear the timer. We have 3 individuals who have signed up to speak today, the first being Mr. James Gallant.
Can you hear me now?
We can. Good morning, Mr. Gallant.
All righty. Good morning, James Gallant, Marquette County. These are opinions. The Marquette County Suicide Prevention Coalition now has a stated purpose to help formally establish common law parliamentary procedure in Michigan at the Michigan Supreme Court under the Michigan Constitution and the United States of America Constitution. It appears the issue of formal as compared to informal deliberations during a public meeting is at the heart of our case of controversy. It was provided to you, the instructions by Mike Brady. You must make a motion, second that motion to approve a specific action to bring the business before the commission, like you're going to bring business to this vacate thing, okay? The discussion comes after the motion. It appears that what you're doing is you're blending the standard code for parliamentary procedure. They allow this informal consideration during the meeting, and that's wrong. That's institutionalizing Marxist-style communism in America. There's no semblance of order here. You're just going to make it up on the fly. And I would expect that the members have been boning up on the real rules, the Robert's Rules of Order, so that they can get past you. Page 366, line 8. Okay. Please help us to get a formal Attorney General opinion on this subject. The State Board of Canvassers is doing the same thing under the direction of Secretary of State Benson. And who appointed Secretary Shar today? Because you have to have, is she Secretary Pro Tem because the Secretary couldn't be here? Because Secretary Benson, in my opinion, and it is my prediction, she will face a recall election for not showing up at the meetings and not being there as a secretary during the court-ordered redraw. Now,
Did we lose him?
His 90 seconds was up.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Gallant, for your comments. We appreciate them as always. Next up is Mr. Anthony Scannell.
Hello, MICRC, and I'm happy to see that the special master and obviously the plaintiffs, people seem to be satisfied with the Crane A1 submission or final decision you've made, and I guess we're waiting on the court if that's right, if I haven't missed anything. So I eagerly await that. And I've already voted in the August primary in our new Motown Sound District 1, and so that was pretty fun. I put my ballot in the drop box, and it's funny, when that was up for a ballot proposal a few years ago, I didn't even vote for that, the absentee ballots for anything. I said no, but now that we have it, I'll use it anyway. I therefore would like to reopen my inquiry as my top issue for the MICRC right now. My inquiry as to the ongoing and current constitutional eligibility of each of you commissioners on the party affiliation question. If you filled out an application 5 years ago, I think, right, 2019, or I don't know when it was filled out, but some time ago, do you still affiliate with the party you said you did in 2019?
Thank you, Mr. Scannell. Next up is Cotton.
That individual is not present.
All right. That concludes today's public comment portion of the meeting. Please feel free to email comments to us at redistricting@michigan.gov. We appreciate everyone who offers public comment in whatever way you choose and invite you to keep sharing your thoughts. We'll now move to unfinished business. Next on the agenda is unfinished business 5A, State of Michigan Archives.
Chair, before we do that, Can we just acknowledge that Commissioner Kellum has joined? Commissioner Kellum, can you tell us where you're joining remotely from?
Good morning, joining remotely from Detroit, Michigan.
Thank you so much. Sorry, Chair.
No, that's quite all right. Thank you, Ms. Shar, and welcome, Commissioner Cullum. All right, unfinished business, 5A, State of Michigan Archives. If there's no objection, Commissioners, I'll ask Executive Director Woods to facilitate this item. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Mr. Woods, you have the floor.
All right, thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Is everyone able to see my screen?
We can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I want to really thank the State of Michigan Archive team, been working with Cynthia and Brian, and just kind of wanted to give you an update on where we are with the archives. In terms of the archive, the website AOM has processed our commission's website from 2020 onwards. So therefore, this means since the inception of the commission, I believe it was September 17th, 2020 was the first meeting via Archivelt and the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine. And so historical versions of the website will be preserved and accessible as it was on a specific date, and access will be via dedicated MICRC web collection. The Archives of Michigan AOM will archive and ingest all 2,700 plus individual digital files published on the website since 2020 and any other relevant files identified by the Commission. Examples include the PD reports, minutes, maps, public comments, using Preservica and accessible via MICRC collection and Archives of Michigan online portal Missionology. So just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that was taking place. And then there's two more things. Social media. The Archive of Michigan will archive the content distributed and communicated through Facebook, Twitter, now X, YouTube, and Instagram using Archive Social with a dedicated MICRC portal. And then the paper overall collection, any records available in hard copy, such as boxes from NDOS, from our former executive director, publications, transfer, overall collection will be cataloged and described in the Archives of Michigan online catalog. So what I wanted to just share with you is the process that is ongoing with regards to the Commission's records. As many of you know, other states have used what is taking place in Michigan as a best practice, as a benchmark. We've already heard how the state of Colorado adopted the Commission's rules and procedures, how Ohio looked at the Commission with regards to its own ballot proposal and how things are functioning in Michigan. This will be a topic for research. And so we just want to make sure that we have everything set up and present in the state's archives so that people can readily find the information, and then making sure that whatever hard copies or information that you may have in your possession, that we can get to the Archives of Michigan as well, so it can be cataloged. If there's any questions, I can take them at this time. All right, hearing none, I can move to the University of Michigan. The University of Michigan is working in concert with the State of Michigan Archives with regards to that. However, just so we're clear, at the University of Michigan, they are also the depository for Voters Not Politicians, and also the depository for the Close-Up program that was previously run by Tom Ivako, who is now retired. And so we are working with them, taking a tour of the facility. As you know, in the past, they have made a request to hear directly from commissioners individually
with regards to the process of serving on the commission and how you felt, and wanting to do an individual interview to get your perspective. In order to participate in that, they do request a sign off, but it's the choice of each individual commissioner as to whether or not they choose to participate. But they're interested in getting this project started in August. And so I will be reaching out to you with regards to that. But just letting you know that we will have the archives at obviously the state of Michigan, but also at the University of Michigan. And once again, the University of Michigan will also have all the archives from Voters Not Politicians, as well as the close-up. If there's any questions, I can take them at this time. All right. Then Commissioner Eid, I think because of what's happening, it would be nice if we had a committee that could kind of just assist me with regards to this. There's going to be a lot of moving parts in the next couple of months to make sure that everything is there. And I would like to suggest Commissioners Elaine Andrade, Commissioner Cynthia Orton, and Commissioner Janice Vallette to assist me with regards to a subcommittee on archives.
Okay, that would have to be a motion from a commissioner to establish that kind of subcommittee. Are there?
I move we establish the committee as suggested by Executive Director Woods, provided that the three named individuals concur that they would serve.
Second.
We have a motion and a subcommittee we have a motion and a second to establish a archive subcommittee with Commissioners Andrade, Commissioner Orton, and Commissioner Vallette to sit on said committee. Is that right, Commissioner Vallette?
That's correct.
Okay, is there any discussion on the motion?
Let's ask if they would agree to serve.
What do y'all think? Commissioner Vallette, Commissioner Orton, Commissioner Andrade. Y'all good with that?
I'm willing to serve there.
Yeah, I am too.
Commissioner Orton, we did not hear you.
Oh, you didn't hear me. Yes, I am happy to serve there.
Wonderful. All right. With that said, we'll go to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, the ayes have it. Subcommittee is established. I'm sure y'all will work well with U of M and Mr. Woods in order to make sure we have a good archival process there. Thank you in advance. Next on the agenda is unfinished business 5C, notice to vacate legal expense. At this time, I'll transfer the chair to our vice chair, Commissioner Kellum, to handle this portion of the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Eid. So we'll have our local counsel, Nate Fink, who I know is present because I see his face and he's getting ready to speak. He has his ready to speak face. And so Nate Fink will present and facilitate this item if there are no objections. Okay, hearing no objections, please proceed, Mr. Fink.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And good morning to everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. The commission will recall that there was a notice to vacate request submitted requesting the removal of Commissioner Eid from the commission. I'm not suggesting, and I don't think it's appropriate for us to relitigate any of the issues that were addressed in that request. But there's one remaining issue that's still hanging out there. The commission voted on February 8th not to proceed with the notice to vacate, not to remove Commissioner Eid from the commission. The commission's rules of procedure, specifically Rule 3.4E2. I can share my screen and share that provision right now. Can everyone see my screen? Yep, okay. So as I indicated, this is the commission's rules of procedure. This is section 3.4, which relates to a notice or a request to remove a commissioner from the commission for various reasons. 3.4E2 states, and I'll highlight the language here. If the vote to declare the member's seat vacant fails, the member may be reimbursed for reasonable attorney fees utilizing the lodestar method and the Michigan rules of professional conduct, which include the relevant factors to figure into calculating the lodestar amount and whether any adjustments upward or downward are appropriate. So the key term and what I take from that is that the commission may, not must, but may reimburse Commissioner Eid for attorney fees that he incurred related to the notice to vacate proceeding because the commission did not vote to remove him from the commission. His counsel in that proceeding was the Dykema law firm led by Steve Liedl. They submitted invoices. I say invoices because they submitted their full rate invoice and then a discounted invoice. Those invoices have been shared with the commission. I reviewed those invoices and they appeared to me to be reasonable. The rates that they have included, particularly the reduced rates that they provided, seem to be reasonable. The amount of time and the time entries that they provided seem to me to be reasonable. Nothing jumps out at me as being inappropriate. And I would not recommend either an upward or downward adjustment as provided for in the commission's rules as it relates to those or to the invoice that was submitted. So if the commission decides that it wants to reimburse Commissioner Eid for his attorney fees related to that proceeding, I don't see any issue with the invoice that was submitted. Seems to be reasonable to me. And I'm happy to address or answer any questions that anybody might have, but that's what I have.
Commissioner Zatella.
So, I don't have any particular questions, but I do have comments on this. Are you fine with me proceeding with this at this point?
I don't have any issue with it. I mean, I don't know if there's any like motion before the commission at this moment about, but it's an agenda item. I would defer to the chair.
Yeah, I don't see any issue with comments as long as they remain germane to what Mr. Fink just presented and it doesn't open up something that we've discussed in previous commission meetings.
Well, in case there's a
Commissioner
required, I would make the motion that we pay the invoice as stated, and then we can open it up for whatever discussion we want to do.
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner Zatella has asked to make comments. We also have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lett, and a second by Commissioner Weiss. Excuse me. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Well, I think
Yes.
I think Commissioner Zatella is probably going to have some discussion.
Right, so that's why I was gonna give her this opportunity. I'm just making sure that I'm still following Robert's rules, Commissioner Lett. Okay, so.
And if I may, before we engage in the discussion, Madam Chair, if I may just add something to clarify.
Sure.
Okay, so I think the motion was made to pay the invoice. I think it should be clear, as I indicated, there were two different invoices. There was the original invoice, or I guess the original invoice and a reduced invoice. I believe that the reduced invoice is should the commission decide to pay one, that's the one that the commission should consider paying. So I would suggest that perhaps the motion be modified just to be clear that that's the commission, that's the invoice. And just to be even more clear for the record, that's the one that's in the amount of $16,730.10.
Well, that would be correct. I interpreted their billing as the discounted invoice was the one they were asking to be paid. Thus,
That's right,
that for my motion, but it's the discounted invoice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Commissioner Lett. Commissioner Zatella?
Yeah, so the first thing I want to comment on is looking over this bill. There's multiple entries on here for discussion related to amending the rules of procedure. I don't think that's appropriate to be included in this whatsoever, because we have counsel. Mr. Fink was advising on the rules of procedure and made draft revisions to it. There is a reference as well about Mr. Liddell communicating with Mr. Fink about changes to the rules of procedure. And the fact that Commissioner Eid wanted to use Mr. Liddell for side discussions related to the rules of procedure should not be something that should be paid for or covered by this commission. We have our own counsel, and so there's no need for that. I also want to raise the fact that this very commission, and I know the three new commissioners weren't part of this discussion, so just for some background, in the summer of 2023, Commissioner Lang, I believe also, and Commissioner Wagner at various points had asked for our own counsel, our own independent counsel, because we were named individually in the AG case. And that request was to pay for that counsel was refused by this commission. And the arguments made at that time is that commissioners are free to hire their own individual counsel for whatever reason, but that they are financially responsible for the costs associated with that counsel. So I think it would be extremely inconsistent for this commission to now say, in this situation where Mr. Eid went out, hired his own counsel, negotiated his own rates with them, excuse me for 1 second, and was responsible for the direction of what they were working on and what they weren't working on, for the commission to be paying for that when the commission's taken a position in the past that those expenses would not be covered. The expenses for Mr. Eid were in his personal capacity as a commissioner. They were not on the commission or on behalf of the commission as a whole. I don't see anywhere in the Constitution where it authorizes us to pay for individual commissioners' legal expenses. It does authorize the payment of the commission's legal expenses, but not individual commissioners. And so I think it's inappropriate for the commission to take that position that he should be paid for this. And I think it's particularly concerning in the context of what the allegations in the notice were. They were allegations of corruption. And now this commission is considering paying Mr. Eid or personally enriching him for allegations of potential public corruption. I think that's a very disturbing position to take. If you guys want to take it, knock yourselves out. But it's not something I could ever support. Thank you.
Commissioner Wagner, I saw your hand up briefly. Would you like to add any comments? I want to make sure before I move on.
No, but I totally agree with Commissioner Zatella. Thank you.
Commissioner Lett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In response to Commissioner Zatella, clearly, as stated by Attorney Fink here today, there is a separate provision which provides that a person who is subject to a motion to vacate, which was brought on by Commissioner Zatella against Commissioner Eid, is under a separate provision to pay for his expenses, not the commission's expenses. He gets if he prevails, which he did in this, then his attorney fees are covered by the commission if we so vote. So to compare that, Commissioner Zatella wanted her independent or separate legal fees paid under a provision under the lawsuit, the AG lawsuit, which covered everybody, not just Commissioner Eid or Commissioner Zatella. There is no particular provision for that. We debated that back in the day, and it was determined that the commission wasn't going to pay for separate. In effect, the possibility of 13 separate attorneys, if all the commissioners chose to go that way on that individual lawsuit, has nothing to do with somebody trying to kick one of the commissioners off, which seems to be Commissioner Zatella's want. The Dykema firm certainly is a well-respected firm in Michigan, been around a long time. Mr. Lito is a well-respected attorney, and under the formula used in determining reasonable rates, as Attorney Fink has said, you look at the lodestar method, which looks at what is the nature of the representation in this. It was to represent Mr. Commissioner Eid, in what was, I would at least consider, Mr. Fink may have a different opinion, and I'm sure Commissioner Zatella has the opposite view, but this was a rather unique situation in that we are a new commission. This had never been tried or alleged to be in play. So there was certainly unique questions that required significant research on his part. So having and his hourly rate, and he spread it out. He didn't use his hourly rate on everybody. He had other less paid associates working on it, so that lowered the cost. So having said all that, clearly it's within Commissioner Ead's purview to request the commission to pay the invoice, the discounted invoice. And I think given the circumstances, having been brought, which I considered and former Commissioner Clark considered, and we so put in a report that they were unfounded. So to continue to push after that report resulted in these expenses. And evidently, and I'll say this from Commissioner Zatella's comments today, they're almost libelous against Commissioner Ead. So I would urge the commission to approve the payment of these expenses. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lett. Commissioner Zatella.
So a couple of points. With respect to Commissioner Lett's reference to this supposed report that Commissioner Clark and himself prepared, number one, there was no such report. To claim that there was some report issued to the commission, you were never authorized, the two of you, to get together to make a decision on the behalf of the commission. That was something you did on your own. And those allegations then were relative to Commissioner Eads' employment with a particular entity that had worked closely with the commission during the drafting of maps. The notice was actually significantly broader than that. The notice actually involved the drawing of districts to benefit Democratic politicians, and it included many other things. So what you did in the summer, what you and Mr. Clark did on your own, where you guys formed your own little committee and formed a conclusion about whether you thought there was merit, that really has nothing to do with the notice. The notice was much broader, and there was no report related to the notice. I honestly would take issue with the claim that Commissioner Ead prevailed. I think you guys refused to consider it, which is what you did with the prior concern about the employment with Michigan Voices. That being said, I also want to point out that the question is actually the same in some ways. He has independent counsel that he's acquired. The commission changed the rules in January, obviously in consultation with Mr. Lydell, based on the billing, where it indicates that he was communicating with Mr. Fink about those procedural changes that were made to benefit Mr. Ead. So I think even as of January, before we even had any kind of pretend hearing on the notice, it was pretty obvious that this commission was not going to entertain the notice, consider it seriously, or have a hearing on it, because they were already changing the rules to create this loop where Commissioner Ead gets to be compensated if he responds to the notice. So if that rule had been in place longstanding, I would say, oh, the rule exists. But no, it was specifically changed to benefit Commissioner Ead. And I have a feeling that if my notice had proceeded or proceeds in the future, you guys would take a very different view on covering my legal expenses. So, I just think there's a little bit of intellectual dishonesty that's happening here with respect to the hiring of attorneys. And I think particularly in the case of AG, where you have people who are being named, in that situation, individual attorneys would have been appropriate, but the commission said they weren't going to pay for them, and that's fine. In this situation, the only benefit of this hiring of an attorney is to benefit Commissioner Ead. It was not to benefit the commission. It wasn't designed to help the commission as a whole. It was for his own individual benefit. And again, if you guys want to go ahead and reimburse him for that, it's on you. You guys own that. It's inappropriate. I'm not going to change my opinion that it's inappropriate. And ultimately, you guys are going to do what you want to do. And then, you get to own that. So.
Commissioner Callahan.
I think it would set a pretty chilling precedent if we were to refuse to pay Commissioner Ead's legal fees. Because what this would mean for anybody else who's thinking about possibly serving on this commission in the future, they would have to be aware that they are opening themselves up to being accused of corruption and unethical behavior, baselessly or otherwise, by anyone else on the commission who perhaps has an axe to grind.
Commissioner Callahan, you're breaking up a little bit.
And then that person to serve on a commission for not that much money. Is it better now?
Yes.
No. I just think it's a terrible precedent to set that any citizen would be opening themselves up to thousands of dollars of legal fees to defend themselves against anyone on the commission who has an axe to grind against them and wants to make accusations. And then they just have to either have their reputation smeared publicly and not defend themselves, or spend thousands of dollars of their own money to try to get their reputation back. I don't think that's a precedent we want to sit for this commission going forward. That's just, in my mind, that's ridiculous.
Thank you, Commissioner Callahan. Commissioner Ead.
Well, that's exactly why we put the rule in the first place, that the commission should reimburse commissioners if there's a notice to vacate, and that notice to vacate didn't succeed. Look, folks.
Point of order. Just for clarification, Chair or Acting Chair Kellum, when there is, would it not be an abstention because this is regarding Commissioner Eid and therefore he wouldn't be able to participate in the discussion in favor of or against doing the paying the bill? I just want clarification on that, so we're doing everything correctly.
I am not aware of Commissioner Ead's inability to speak during debate and discussion on this matter, but if Megan, you have any guidance since Commissioner Lang has raised a point of order?
I don't believe there is anything in your rules of procedure regarding this. It would appear that it would be inappropriate for him to participate in the vote, and thus I would advise not participate in discussion, but I would defer to the commission.
Mr. Fink, did you want to say something or no?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't, the section 3.4 E2 does say the member subject to the allegations contained in the notice may not participate in the resolution of the matter by the commission. That's, I think, more contemplating the discussion of the actual request to remove, not necessarily this component of the discussion after the fact. But that said, I mean, you know, we're hearing from, you know, plenty of commissioners and hearing their perspectives. So, you know, I'm not sure that it's necessary to, you know, to hear from the commissioner who's the subject of this, but I don't know if there's an explicit rule either way. So I guess I would defer to the chair on this to make a call in that context.
Okay. Commissioner Ead, did you feel particularly impassioned to continue your statement? If not, I'm going to hear from other commissioners during this time.
I'll yield. I may come back though. We'll see.
We'll do so with caution. Okay, Commissioner Zatella.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to address Commissioner Lett's claims that I'm somehow libeling Commissioner Ead. First of all, libel is written, slander is spoken. So it wouldn't be libel anyway. And it's certainly not libel to raise facts. Truth is an absolute defense to defamation. Defamation includes both libel and slander.
Point of order.
Wait a minute.
This was an accusation.
Commissioner Ead. So, Commissioner Zatella, before Commissioner Ead was going to say point of order, and I didn't want to interrupt you the last time. I am totally fine with having the floor remain open to you as you express factual information. But if you could avoid coloring it with any assumptions or referencing to whether people have feelings about one person or another, if you're just presenting exactly what happened that could be backed up without any conjecture, that would be great. And you're totally allowed to respond if you feel like you disagree with someone else. But I really would like this portion of the debate and discussion to focus on the legal fees that relate to the vacation. So if we could do that, and we still do have a motion that was presented by Commissioner Lett to have the vote. So this doesn't have to be an exhaustive thing, but of course I want fellow commissioners to be able to shed light on whatever they deem necessary, but in a respectful way with no innuendos or.
So I appreciate that. I'm just laughing because I feel like the point where you should have chimed in on that would have been when Commissioner Lett accused me of libel. But yet you said nothing then. And now when I'm trying to respond to it, you're trying to cut me off. So if I could just complete my sentence, nothing I said was libelous against Mr. Ead. As an attorney, Commissioner Lett knows that full well. And again, my vote is still going to be no on this because I think it's totally inappropriate.
Commissioner Lett.
I call the question.
Okay, there's no further discussion on the matter.
That would need to be seconded. Acting
Okay, is
chair.
there?
Second.
I'm sorry, you're right. Call a question by Commissioner Lett, a second by Commissioner Muldoon. Is there any discussion on the matter? Okay, all those in favor of the discussion ending, please raise your hand and signify with
Can we
aye.
have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. This is a motion to call the question and end any debate on the motion to pay the reduced invoice. If you are in favor of ending all discussion, that would be a yes vote. If you are not, it would be a no vote. We will do this in alphabetical order, beginning with Commissioner Callahan,
Yes, in debate.
Commissioner Curry,
No.
Commissioner Eid,
Yes.
Commissioner Kellum,
Yes.
Commissioner Lang,
No.
Commissioner Lett,
Yes.
Commissioner Muldoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Orton,
Yes.
Commissioner Zatella.
So I'm going to vote yes, but I'm also questioning whether Commissioner Eid should be voting on these matters. Just raising that as an issue. Point of order, I guess.
I believe that your attorney, Mr. Fink, already weighed in on this, and the rules of procedure more address the notice to vacate than this part of the procedure. So I would defer to Acting Chair Kellum.
My understanding was Mr. Fink said there was a difference between the discussion and the voting, but I'm sure he can chime in on that. I mean, this vote benefits him, so he shouldn't, it's a conflict of interest. He shouldn't be voting on it.
So this is a point of order. I would need a decision from Acting Chair Kellum.
Well, there's nothing in the rules that say I can't.
Commissioner E, you're not the.
Commissioner Eid, you're not chair, and there's no
Right.
discussion on this point of order.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
going to say, so this runs more cleanly and it doesn't turn into a mudslinging, because every time he gets involved, I'm going to honor the point of order. Commissioner E won't be voting for this discussion, the end of discussion.
Okay, so Commissioner Eid, just for the record, can I have your vote as abstain then?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So Commissioner Zatella, I don't think I got your vote. Or if I did, can you restate it?
Yeah, it was a yes.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Vallette,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner,
No.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrade. I did not hear you, Commissioner Andrade.
Yes.
Thank you. With a vote of 9 yes to 3 no with 1 abstention, the question is called.
Thank you, Megan. So there's a motion that was made by Commissioner Lett and it was seconded by Commissioner Weiss, a motion for the commission to pay the discounted invoice as it relates to Commissioner Ead's notice to vacate legal expense by the Dykema firm. All those in favor? But I'm thinking that there would be a roll call vote for this as well.
Absolutely. So this is the motion to pay the reduced invoice of $16,730.10 to Dykema for legal expenses incurred representing Commissioner Ead in the notice to vacate. A yes vote means you're in favor of paying those expenses. A no vote means you are not. I will begin alphabetically with Commissioner Curry.
Yes, you can pay.
Commissioner Ead, is it correct that you're abstaining due to conflict?
I'll abstain. I don't think it's due to conflict though, but I'll abstain.
Commissioner Kellum,
Yes.
Commissioner Lang,
No.
Commissioner Lett,
Yes.
Commissioner Muldoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Orton,
Yes.
Commissioner Zatella.
No.
Commissioner Villette,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner,
No.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrade,
Yes.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
With a vote of 9 yes to 3 no with 1 abstention, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, commissioners. At this time, because that item on our agenda is completed, Commissioner Eid, I am returning the role of chair back to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kellum. I'd like to thank you for addressing that portion of today's meeting. I'd also like to thank the Dykema firm for their assistance in this matter. We'll now move on to new business. However, I do see Commissioner Curry's hand raised.
Yes, I had just wanted to make a statement that this was my first time even hearing about a lawsuit. So I wanted to vote yes for more discussion, but I'm fine with the lawsuit. And I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you, Commissioner Curry. Okay. Commissioner Lott. Mr. Fink.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify for the record, and for Commissioner Curry, there's no new lawsuit, or anything. This discussion related to the commission's decision to reimburse Commissioner Eid for his attorney fees incurred related to the request to remove him from the commission that the commission had addressed back earlier this year. So there's no new lawsuit or anything.
I didn't think it was a new lawsuit. I was just stating that I had not heard in detail all that I heard today.
Okay, I just wanted to
Never heard of it.
Okay, I just wanted to make it clear that there's no, just so there's no confusion about that. There's no new lawsuit or anything like that. Thank you.
All right, glad everyone's on the same page. Glad we can put that business behind us. We'll now move on to agenda item 5D, unfinished business, public comment analysis. If there's no objection, commissioners, I'll ask Executive Director Woods to facilitate this item. Are there any objections? Hearing none, Mr. Woods, you have the floor.
Right. Just want to inform the commission that the University of Michigan students are putting together or compiling their data into a booklet, and also will be sharing lessons learned for the consideration of the next commission with regards to the analysis of public comment. So just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that, and we'll be receiving that. So it's just more info. Once again, want to thank that entire crew for all that they did in aggregating the public comments. As the commission may know, that was something that came out of our lessons learned, that we would do that so that the commission can use that in its consideration and drawing a map. And so it was just good to see the commission following its own advice through the lessons learned process. So just wanted you to be aware of that. If I make Commissioner Eid, the rest of the unfinished business and new business is mine. So if you want, I could just go to the next item.
Are there any objections, commissioners, to Executive Director Woods continuing on to his new business items? I don't see any, Mr. Woods. You can continue.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna put this on the screen. All right. Just want to note that the fiscal year 24 budget supplemental request was paid for. I should say was voted on. It was voted on June 27th for the amount that the commission requested, $3,331,200. Go ahead.
I
No,
just want to say the screen is a little strange. It has Give Subtitles a Try is kind of covering up part of the slide.
Oh, hold on. It's is that better? I'm just something that they wanted me to do. Is that off now?
Yes,
Okay, sorry
that's
about
good.
that. Oh, now it's trying to. Okay, how about that? Is that good? Does that work? Okay, thank you. Let me stop that share. That work? Okay, thank you. We're still waiting for the funds to be deposited, so I just want you to know, although the money has been approved, it has not been deposited. I'd like to express appreciation to Governor Whitmer, State Senator Sarah Anthony, State Senate Office, State Budget Office, the Michigan Attorney General's Office, and the Michigan Department of State for working with us. This was done as a tag team along with Fink Bresick, and so definitely want to thank Nate Fink as well as David Fink as well. Once the money is deposited, we will be paying the outstanding bills that haven't been paid so that we can be current. If there's any questions with regards to the fiscal year 24 budget supplemental requests, please let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Woods.
I'm going to assume that there are no questions. Is that correct?
Does not look like there are at the
All right,
moment.
good. We're in the process of completing the draft report for the House and Senate Remedial Commission report. As you already know, the Senate remedial plan was submitted to the court and is scheduled to be ruled on by no later than a week from Friday. So we have started with the House, and then we will continue with the Senate if the court approves the plan. And so just want to show you where we are with this report right now, and so that you have context of where we are, so that you can see it, but it's pretty much set up similar to the previous commission report. The main difference here is that this is done, that only includes the House remedial plan, but it's the House and Senate remedial maps. This will not be a full commission report, but it will be done one that considers the House and Senate remedial maps. It has a table of contents that outlines everything with regards to that. After the table of contents, it's a forward that we've been working on. I've been working on with our local council to make sure everything is there. This one is like the draft language that we have for the House. And we'll be sending this out to you for your review. It has the purpose statement in terms of why we're doing the report according to the Constitution, that we're required to do this. And of course, the 7 rank redistricting criteria. After that, it has the following plan, the legal description and interactive map. And this is the same information that you can get off the website. It's just in a booklet. It will be done electronically, where you'll be able to hyperlink to the legal description that's done through the Michigan Department of Technology, Management, and Budget. Then after that, it has the map that was actually voted, Motown Sound, FCE1. After that, it has the voting rights analysis so that you can see what was actually off the website. Then it has the population, and it gives you a notice to the meeting materials so people can see the dates where the meetings were, so people can follow it, as well as the mapping data. And then it goes down and gives you the population by the districts. All of the districts are in there, just so people are aware. as well as the new districts that were changed so that they have all of that so they can see the data. Same thing happens here with the Voting Rights Act analysis that we showed you earlier. Then the Motown FCE1 voting age population, all of this information available on the website, just put in a booklet, the communities of interest. This links to the comments on the State House remedial map, which would be the mapping comments portal. It links to the public comment portal. And then the comments made due commission meetings from the meeting information. These comments are best obtained through the transcripts for when these meetings actually took place. He talks about partisan fairness. And then we put in the same information that's off of the website is placed in here by district so everyone can see it. After that, you see the mean median difference, which is on the website, the efficiency gap, which is also on the website, and the seats to vote ratio. And then we have the compactness information that people are able to see. Then after the compactness information, we have the appendix, which lets people see the old map, the 2022 Hickory map. Then they're able to once again see the 2024 Michigan House of Representative map. And then it has a cover where it lists each of the commissioners that participated. Now, what we're also adding to the commission report is the court order and opinion that initiated the court order and the court order that came out on December 21, I believe, and then also the opinion that came out in March with regards to the approved map. And then we will also add the core retention as a part of the appendix. So just kind of wanted to give you an overview of what's being worked on in terms of putting the report together. We will be asking the commission to actually vote on the report in September after we see where we are with the Senate. And so just wanted to make sure that you're aware this report follows the same outline as the approved commission report that was created in 2021 for the maps. Having said that, there is no deadline or requirement of a deadline for commissioners who would like to submit a descending report as to be included as a part of the commission report. And so my goal is to get this done before the end of the fiscal year, which is obviously September 30th, in terms of it actually being voted on by the commission. We do have a commission meeting scheduled for Thursday, September 19th. As you know, our regular meetings are the third Thursday of every month. And so it would be helpful if I could get any descending reports by Thursday, September 12th, so that we can include it in the commission report. Once again, anyone that submits a descending report, that does not, I repeat, that does not have to be approved by the commission, but it does need to be included in the report. So this is, since there's nothing in the Constitution or in our rules with regards to a deadline, I am just throwing it out there that the commission make a deadline for Thursday, September 12th, so we can actually put it into the book and have it for the commission to vote on September 19th.
Yeah, I move we adopt that as the deadline for the dissenting reports, if any.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, commissioners. The motion was made by Commissioner Lett and seconded by Commissioner Weiss. We'll open the floor to discussion on the matter, and we'll start with Commissioner Orton.
Yeah, I just wanted clarification on, so a dissenting report, if we vote this, it would be due September 12th, and that could be written by anyone who voted no on either map, House or Senate.
It could, correct. If you voted no on the House, for Motown Sound FCE1, you can submit a dissenting report. And if you voted no, or it wasn't your first choice, so we did ranked voting, on the Senate remedial map, you can submit a dissenting report.
Thank you.
Commissioner Zatello?
Yeah, I've already had some, excuse me one second. Sorry, my throat is bothering me today. I already had some chatting with Executive Director Woods about this. The last time we did dissenting reports, those of us who were submitting them worked on them until June. So that was almost 6 months after the original report. As Mr. Woods has indicated, there is no deadline in the Constitution. I will be preparing a dissenting report. I will not be able to get it done by September. I was very clear with Mr. Woods about that I anticipate taking the same amount of time that I took last time, which would be 5 to 6 months to work on it, because it is a significant amount of work to get these things done and to make sure they're well researched, because we do have tens of thousands of pages of documents and things that need to be gone over. So like I said, September is just a grossly insufficient amount of time. It's significantly shorter than what we had for the last dissenting reports. And I would actually make a motion to amend the deadline to December 31st, 2024 to give me adequate time to prepare my dissenting report.
Seconded.
Okay, we have an amendment to the original motion made by Commissioner Zatello, seconded by Commissioner Wagner, to extend the deadline in the original motion to December 31st, 2024. Is that correct, Commissioner Zatello?
Yes.
All right, is there any discussion on the amendment? Commissioner Orton?
Yeah, I just wonder about timeline. So we need, constitutionally, we need to create a report, publish a report, correct? And you're trying to get these any dissenting reports into the report. Is that correct, Mr. Woods?
That is correct.
So timeline wise, how would that work? Because when the lawsuits are complete and we complete our work, we go dormant. So how does that all work with dormancy?
I would have to defer to Mr. Fink on that in terms of what happens if we were to in dormancy mode in December, and how would that deadline of December 31st work? I don't know.
Mr. Chair, may I?
Mr. Fink, go
Um,
ahead.
Okay, thank you. I think the commission should complete all of its work before it goes dormant, and that would include publishing its report and any dissenting reports related to its work in the remedial phase. So I don't know exactly when that dormancy date is going to hit. We are, hopeful that the court is going to approve the map by July 26th. And presumably shortly thereafter, within a couple of months, the commission will be ready to go dormant, because all of its litigation will be concluded, and so I don't know if that's going to drag out until into December. I would sort of defer to, I guess, to Edward, back to you on the timing of that. But I definitely think that the commission needs to complete all of its work, which really the last major piece of that, I think, will be completing this report. So I absolutely agree that that deadline should be set in advance of the anticipated sort of target date for dormancy.
Commissioner Curry, do you have a hand raised? All right, Commissioner Zatella.
So my understanding of the dormancy is that we vote to go dormant once all litigation is completed and no further action is required of the commission or its members. Again, there's no specific time frame on that. It's a vote of the commission, and then after we vote, there's 30 days to wind things up, and that's the point where we stop getting paid, is once that 30-day time period has passed. Before we're in the dormancy period, we continue to collect paychecks. Once we're in the dormancy period, we stop collecting paychecks. And again, as I noted, it says that no further action is required of the commission or its members. So it seems that time frame to submit dissenting reports is still action of the members, and that the commission would still be active until those reports are completed. That's my understanding.
Commissioner Lett. Can't hear you.
Let's try it this way. Speaking to the amendment to go to December 31st, I would speak against that. The first report done covered all of our work through the adoption of all of the maps. We're now dealing with 6 Senate districts and however many representative districts we did in a much, much shorter period of time. So I cannot really see how we can justify taking 5 or 6 months to come up with a dissenting report when the major portion of the report will be done by September. So I would encourage a vote against the amendment.
Is there any more discussion on the amendment to the original motion? Seeing none, we will vote. This is just voting on the amendment to extend the deadline in the original motion to December 31st, 2024. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 All those opposed, please raise your hand and say nay. Nay. I think we might need a roll call, Department of State. I think I saw 5 and 4.
Absolutely. This is vote on, this is a vote on the motion to amend the deadline to December 31st, 2024. So if you would like the deadline extended until December 31st, 2024, you would vote yes. If you do not want that amended to December 31st, you would vote no. I will start with Commissioner Eid.
No.
Commissioner Kellum.
I'm sorry, I stepped away. So the deadline for what? Can you just tell me quickly?
So there's a motion on the table to set a deadline of September 12th, 2024 for all dissenting reports. Then there was a motion to amend that deadline and extend it to December 31st, 2024. We are currently taking a vote on whether you would like to amend the main motion so that the deadline is December 31st, 2024.
Yes.
Commissioner Lang.
I don't believe she's on anymore.
Thank you, Commissioner Zatella. I did not catch that. Commissioner Lett.
No.
Commissioner Muldoon.
Yes.
Commissioner Orton.
No.
Commissioner Zatella.
Yes.
Commissioner Villette.
No.
Commissioner Wagner.
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss.
No.
Commissioner Andrade.
No.
Commissioner Callahan. Did
It
we
looks
lose
like she got bumped off.
Okay. Commissioner Curry.
Yes.
All right.
Did we lose
So
our ASL interpreter?
No, I still see that they are logged on.
Thank you.
Commissioner Callahan is back.
Okay, Commissioner Callahan, can I get your vote on the motion to amend the deadline for dissenting reports to December 31st, 2024? The original motion has a deadline of September 12th, 2024. So this is to amend that to December 31st.
Yes.
With that vote, we have a tie, so the motion fails.
So I'd like to make a motion to amend the deadline to December 15th, 2024.
Seconded.
I'd like to speak to it, Chair.
Go ahead.
So it's kind of shocking to me that honestly anyone would vote no to this. Like I said, we were given 6 months for the last dissenting reports to prepare them. There's no timeline in the Constitution. You guys get to collect a paycheck while I'm working on the dissenting report. And you know, I've told you that's not enough time for me of September. And so it's just kind of a sharp practice that the commission would seek to vote against a simple request to extend a deadline to accommodate a commissioner who's asking for it. So again, I'm asking for December 15th. I may get it done before that, I may not, but you know, I think it's a reasonable request given the time that it took to prepare the last dissenting reports. And, you know, I don't understand what the objection to it would be, honestly. It seems spiteful to me.
Commissioner Lett.
I call the question.
Doesn't look like there's discussion, more discussion. You'd like to save us the vote, Commissioner Lett?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, let's vote on the amendments, commissioners, extending the deadline to December 15th, 2024. Can we get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. So this is a motion to extend the deadline for dissenting reports to December 15th, 2024. It was moved by Commissioner Satella, supported by Commissioner Wagner. We will start this round with Commissioner Kellum.
Yes.
Commissioner Lang, oh, sorry, she is not on. Commissioner Lett,
No.
Commissioner Muldoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Orton,
No.
Commissioner Zatella,
Yes.
Commissioner Vallette,
No.
Commissioner Wagner,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Sorry, no.
thank you, Commissioner Andrade. I did not hear you, Commissioner Andrade. I'm not entirely sure what is going on with your sound today. Can you try one more time, or can you do a thumbs up or thumbs down that we could see for the public record? Thank you. I've recorded your vote as a no. Commissioner Callahan,
Yes.
Commissioner Curry,
Yes.
and Commissioner Eid.
No.
With a vote of 6-6, the motion fails.
Commissioner Zatella.
Is Mr. Fink still online and available?
Yes,
Mr. Fink?
I am.
Yeah, so I have a question for you, Mr. Fink. Commissioners have a right under the Constitution to submit a dissenting report, which is why we were given the time we needed last time to submit a dissenting report. So if for some reason I don't make that deadline, I still have a constitutional right to submit the dissenting report, do I not? I mean, they can't take away my constitutional right by trying to set a deadline that I've already told them I cannot meet.
I mean, I'm just looking at the language right now. Section 16, subsection 16 states as follows. For each adopted plan, the commission shall issue a report that explains the basis on which the commission made its decisions in achieving compliance with plan requirements and shall include the map and legal description required in Part 9 of this section. A commissioner who votes against a redistricting plan may submit a dissenting report, which shall be issued with the commission's report. So certainly every commissioner who votes against a redistricting plan has a constitutional right to submit a dissenting report. But the provision that indicates that it shall be issued with the commission's report means that it has to be part of the commission's report. And it's certainly within the commission's discretion to set the deadline for when it's going to publish that report. So that falls within the commission's right to govern itself and operate under its rules of procedure. So I mean, obviously any commissioner can do whatever they want in terms of publishing something on their own after the fact if they want, but in terms of making it part of the constitutional report, it has to be included within the commission's report.
Right, but if I submit it at a later date, don't they just have to reissue the report? It's required to be included.
It's required to be included within the commission's report, but if the commission has already issued its report pursuant to the commission's right to set deadlines, and govern how it wants to issue, because I mean, theoretically, under the hypothetical that you're describing now, 5 years from now, a commissioner could decide that they want to submit their dissenting report, and it then becomes part of the commission's record. I don't think that that's a reasonable interpretation of the constitutional provision. I think the Constitution gives the commission the ability and the right and the obligation to govern itself and to set rules and to set deadlines that are reasonable. I'm not speaking as to what that reasonable deadline is here. I'm just saying that it is certainly within the commission's purview to set a deadline for when it's going to issue its report. I mean, 2 months from now, 60 days, when, again, a lot of these issues have already been really discussed fairly extensively as part of the public record, to me doesn't seem to be, unreasonable. But again, I defer to the commission as to when it wants to set that particular deadline. But it's certainly within the commission's right to set such a deadline.
So it seems you're taking a position that the commission can then silence dissenting reports by setting a deadline that someone says they can't meet. That's kind of what it sounds like you're saying to me.
Not at all. I mean, absolutely, the commissioner has the right to submit a dissenting report that goes within the commission's report. And, if the commission decides that a particular time frame is reasonable, again, we're not talking about the commission saying you've got 24 hours to submit your dissenting report. We're talking about a couple of months here, which to me, again, seems to be fairly reasonable. But again, I defer to the commission as to what the commission deems to be appropriate in terms of the logistics of putting all of this together and getting the materials together and compiling them into a report. Again, if the commission wants to set that deadline out a couple of months, fine. If it wants to extend it beyond that, fine too. But to have this, I think what you're asking about would be some sort of unlimited amount of time for a dissenting commissioner to submit their dissenting report doesn't seem to me to be a reasonable interpretation of that constitutional provision.
All right, I would like to make a motion at this time to extend amend the original motion to extend the deadline to December, we'll say December 1st, 2024.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
All right, excuse me, Commissioner Eid. We just want to make sure the cameras are on for our ASL interpreters. So if they can do a camera check, that would be greatly appreciated. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any discussion on the amendment to the motion, commissioners? Hearing none, we'll vote. Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Orton's hand was
Oh,
up.
Commissioner Orton, sorry.
Yeah, my hand was up. So all of this discussion, it kind of goes to my original question of timeline. My only concern with this is that we can't drag it out forever. So we are expecting to go dormant soon, as soon as we get all of our work done. So I see the conflict between giving commissioners a chance to get their dissenting report, should they wish to do one, into the commission report, but we also need to respect the taxpayer money that we are functioning with and end as soon as we can. So it seems to me that we can't just drag this out to the next fiscal year. We need to end it. And like Commissioner Lett said, it's not the whole body of work that would be dissented. It would be just these 2 quick redraws that we had to do on 13 districts.
Thank you, Commissioner Orton. Commissioner Vella, I see your hand, but then I think you took it down. Do you have anything to add? All right, Commissioner Zatello.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Orton, like I said, we were given 6 months before. And I think, without you having awareness into my personal situation, this is not something I'm going to be able to do by September. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to get into the specifics during a public meeting. You're welcome to call me and talk to me about it, but I am going to require additional time. And I'm asking for the commission to be reasonable and give me the time that I'm going to need. I don't think that's an unreasonable request, given that I'm asking for less time than we had last time. So yeah.
Commissioner Villette.
I'd like to give Rebecca some extra time. I just, and like she said, I don't know her personal, but can we come in the middle of what we have and what she had? Maybe be before the holidays, wrap up before Thanksgiving, which would be the middle of November. It's 2 weeks shorter than she just said. I got the feeling that she's gonna keep cutting the time until we give her an extension. So I would just like to change the time. I'd like to give her some additional time, but I don't think we need through December. I don't think we need, the middle of between when it is now and the end of the year. And I do understand not wanting to go into the fiscal year. Is that the major reason that we picked September 1st?
I'm not quite sure why that original date was picked. I'd like to be done before the holiday season, personally.
Yes.
I'd be okay with mid-November, something like that. Late October and November. I think I saw Commissioner Andrade. Did you have something to add, Commissioner Andrade? I thought I saw your hand, but then it went down.
I was just going to say mid-November.
All right, Commissioner Curry.
I agree with Commissioner Villette that we should allow at least some time to give to Rebecca. Commissioner Rebecca. So I think we should go at least to November.
Commissioner Kellum,
Sorry, now there's like a weird fax noise in my background, but anyways, I'm fine with the December date. Like Commissioner Zatella said, just in good faith, this could be anyone. If you're asking for an extension, you should have it. And those of us that want to turn in reports earlier, I'm sure that we can do that. So it's not that we're all waiting until December. So yeah, I don't have a problem with making that accommodation.
Commissioner Zatella, Commissioner Zatella, hear you.
I'm sorry, I said I withdraw. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Orton,
Yeah, just another timeline question. So after, so say we vote, a certain date, end of November, whatever. And then someone gets or everyone who wants to do a dissenting report gets the report in by that date, then what does the timeline look like after that? We don't have to vote on any dissenting reports, so it would still need to be added into the commission report and then submitted.
Commissioner Latt.
Maybe Mr. Woods, maybe.
Speaking to the timeline, if the timeline were December 1st, then that would complete all of our business. And then the anticipation on the dormancy was it would probably take 30 to 60 days to wrap everything up from there. Now, might be quicker, but that's what would probably be reasonable period of time. Assuming we don't get sued again.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Zatella, the motion on the floor is yours. Do you want to keep it how you have it and vote on it, or do you want to change it at all?
Yeah, let's keep it and vote on it.
Okay, and it was December 1st, 2024, correct?
Yes.
All right. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
The motion before you is to amend the main motion, setting a deadline for dissenting reports to December 1st rather than September 12th, 2024. I will begin this round with Commissioner Lett.
No.
Commissioner Muldoon.
Yes.
Commissioner Orton.
Yes.
Commissioner Zatella.
Yes.
Commissioner Valette.
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner.
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss.
No.
Commissioner Andrade.
No.
Commissioner Callahan.
Yes.
Commissioner Curry.
Yes.
Commissioner Eid.
No.
Commissioner Kellum.
Yes.
With a vote of 8 yes to,
Excuse me, I think Commissioner Lang is on.
oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Lang. Let's see. Commissioner Lang, oh, you got it. Perfect. Can you give me your vote on amending the deadline?
Yes.
Thank you. And I apologize that I missed you. With a vote of 9 yes to 4 no, the motion carries. So the main motion is approved.
That was the amendment to the motion. Now we got to do the main.
Thank you. The amendment is
All right, lots of
approved.
amendments. It's all good. Appreciate your help and all those roll call votes. All right, commissioners, we still have the main motion on the table with the deadline of December 1st, 2024. Commissioner Lett.
You have a question of Executive Director Woods. Now that we've pushed the date out for the Commissioner Zatella's report, do you think it would behoove you or be in the best interest of the commission to move the date for our report to be done?
I'm gonna still keep working on it, once the court, and then all we would have to do is just add it, so it's fine. It's not impacting me at all, because all of the information is on the website. It's just compiling it into a report, so that's not going to impact me. We would just add hers when we receive it, and the commission would vote on, obviously, the report as is without voting on her portion, so that doesn't impact me.
I have a question for Mr. Fink before we vote on the main motion, and that's because we're in this adjoined remedial process, is a commission report and dissenting report even necessary?
Yeah.
All right. That was,
I mean, I'm happy to
that answers the
expand.
question.
Yeah, no, we considered that and reviewed it, reviewed the constitutional language, and yes, if the commission issues a plan, whether it's remedial or otherwise, the commission should comply with its constitutional obligation to issue a report.
All right, thank you for the information. All right, any other discussion before we vote on the main motion? We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Chair Eid, I apologize. Could I have the motion repeated now? I wasn't present when the initial motion was made, just so I know what I'm voting on, please. Thank you.
Of course, Commissioner Lang, it's no problem. Department of State, can we get a readout of the motion as amended?
So Commissioner Lang, the motion, and all commissioners, the motion before you is to set a deadline for commissioners to submit dissenting reports, if any are to be submitted. And the deadline is now December 1st, 2024 in the motion. So you're voting on a December 1st, 2024 deadline for any dissenting reports.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Okay, next on the agenda is new business item 6C, May financial report. If there's no objection, commissioners, I'll ask Executive Director Woods to facilitate the next three items. New business C, D, and E, May financial report, June financial report, and the financial year 24 amended budget. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Mr. Woods, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, commissioners. Just an update. I want to share with you the financial report. When we look at the May financial report, this is where we are $172,037.70 in the hole. As you know, we did submit a fiscal year budget supplemental request in February to be acted on. As I shared earlier, it was approved in June, but this is where we are. You can see our costs, a lot of it related to our pending litigation as it relates to the AG case and having meetings in May. With regards to the cost that we have, I believe almost everything is in here on some of the bills. We're still waiting to receive some bills that we haven't received yet. But in working with our Insight 3, we went over everything. And as far as we know, mostly all of the bills are in. There are a few outstanding bills, but not that much. But this is kind of where we are for May. With regards to our spending, our total expenses were $300,309.34. And we were in the hole. Obviously, we didn't, as I shared earlier, We did not pay our invoices. We held invoices out. So we were in the hole in May because we do use the accrual system. If you remember when we went through our audit process with Commissioner Vallette, we talked about the accrual system versus the cash system. And so in May, we did, as predicted, ran out of money on the book side, even though we have cash in the bank of $172,037.70. In June, we still have some bills that are outstanding, including our bills from Abacus. The one for technology usually comes in with the July financial report, which comes in August. But these are our bills that we have as relates to our mapping. And this should take us total in expenses at this time, just like it was in May. We still have some outstanding. We're $233,484.31. And that left us in the hole of $405,522.01. Once again, I do want to stipulate for both May and June, these are the invoices that we have received at this time. We do have some outstanding invoices that have not been paid. So when everything is said and done, I expect that number to go up possibly $50,000 total, $40,000 to $50,000, but we'll see. With regards to that, once we get the money from the state budget office deposited into our account, we will be paying all of those bills that we have been holding so that we do have cash flow. If there's any questions on the May or the June financial reports, Commissioner Eid, I can take them at this time.
Are there any questions, commissioners? I don't see any, Mr. Woods. Would you like to continue to the supplement?
Sure, thank you. Okay, this is the supplemental amount. This is $6,662,400. This was basically we asked it times two, and we asked them for the additional money due to pending litigation. We have $870,000. This includes staff salary, as well as 13 salaries by the commissioners. This is a budget. This is not what people actually received, but what the budget was based on. I want to be clear on that. Was 13 salaries at 25% of the governor's salary. That includes the vendor service fees and taxes. The rate changes to 35% when mapping. Once again, this is the budgeted amount, not what people actually received. And then the staff salaries is for the executive director and the event planner / administrative assistant. We had increase in travel costs, obviously because we had public hearings and in-person meetings. And this is for business-related travel, $100,000. The technology cost looks like that's going to be possibly down. So we'll wait to see what happens when we receive our final bill. But there could be some cost savings there with regards to technology. Our meeting costs are anything related to having a meeting, whether it's sign language, translation, closed caption, our in-person meetings, our audio visual, all of that relates to meeting costs, $325,000. Then we have $5.2 million in consultants, and let me explain what that means. Our litigation counsel is at 2.5 we're projecting for this year. The plaintiff's counsel is the amount of money that we're working on in terms of settling with the plaintiffs. And so we believe that we can pay some of that money out of this fiscal year budget and the rest of what we owe out of next year's fiscal year's budget. So any savings or anything that we have will be to offset the amount of money we owe to plaintiff's counsel in the AG case. The local counsels, Fink Bressick. The special masters is the reviewing special master and the mapping special master. Cost that the court said the commission had to pay. That's $190,000. $400,000 for election data services for this fiscal year. $300,000 for the Voting Rights Council that from October to the end of December, that was federal compliance. And then, as you know, from January to the present, we are with Baker Hostetler. And so there's some additional costs there. Public relations were the firms that we hired during the mapping process. The legal fees was budgeted with regards to Commissioner, the notice to vacate proceedings, I should say, that took place earlier. That's where that's coming from. And the professional services deals with our accounting group. Our advertising deals with the promotion that we did during the mapping process. And then our office supplies deals with postage, copies, toner, and printing of the posters that you saw on the back during our commission meetings and public hearings. That gives us a grand total of $662,400. So I just want to be clear of where the money's going and need a motion to approve this fiscal year 24 amended budget. If there's any questions, I can take them at this time.
Commissioner Orton?
Yeah, I just have a question about the special master cost. So that was 190,000. I wonder if that includes this Senate redraw special master review as well.
Includes both.
Okay, thank you. So I will make the motion to accept this revised budget.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion, commissioners? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. All right, thank you, Mr. Woods. I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone that we work with for being patient on the payments. Now that we have the funds, we will for sure get them out. I'd also like to thank the state legislature for doing their constitutional duty and appropriating us the funds that we need to get this job done.
Commissioner E, just so we're clear, we do not have the funds. It's been approved, but we do not have them.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Woods. We're on pace to get them, correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Next up on the agenda is item number 7, approval of the minutes. We've had quite a log of minutes logged up that we haven't approved yet from May 14th up until June 26th. Are there any motions regarding these minutes, commissioners?
I would move to approve the minutes as a group, subject to any corrections, additions, or deletions that may be presented here.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as a group. Does that include all of them, Commissioner Lett, from May 14th to June 26th?
That's correct.
Okay, is there any discussion on the motion?
Commissioner Ede, I just want to, I noticed something after we did a review of the minutes that Commissioner Wagner on May 21st actually left at 11:40 a.m. and not 11:40 p.m. So if someone is willing to correct that typo, that would be great. Since I can't make a motion, obviously.
I move we make that correction.
Second.
All those in favor of the amendment to correct the minutes, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. We'll now move back to the original motion to adopt the minutes as a group. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please raise your hand and say nay. The ayes have it, and the minutes are adopted. Next on the agenda is the Executive Director's report. Without objection, I'll ask MICRC Director Woods III to provide this report. Is there any objection? Please proceed, Mr. Woods.
Thank you. In the interest of time, Mr. Chair, I can defer my report to the next meeting. A lot of the business items we've already presented.
All right. Do we have a legal liaison report today, Commissioner Lett?
We do.
If there's no objection, I'll ask our legal liaison, Commissioner Lett, to provide his report. Are there any objections, commissioners? Go ahead, Mr. Lett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was a situation that came to the attention of our counsel, Nate Fink. He received two letters, one from the Deputy Chief of Staff of the AFL-CIO and a second letter from the Council of the Michigan Senate. And I will read the pertinent parts to you for these. The Deputy Chief of Staff for the AFL-CIO, Connor Wood, wrote to Edward. I misspoke, not Nate. He wrote to Edward. And it says in pertinent part that it came to my attention today that recently Commissioner Zatella sent an email to a number of partisan elected officials in Western Wayne County soliciting their input on a mapping process and apparently requesting that they support her preferred arrangement of the areas for state senate. He acknowledges that I do not have the email. He goes on to say that there are several people who are interpreting this as evidence that the commission is not truly independent, and they may try to make some noise about it. He went on to say that he strongly disagreed with their interpretation and urging them to let the mapping process play out without interference. The letter from, excuse me, the letter from General Counsel for the Michigan Senate was along the same lines. It was sent to Mr. Fink. Says, I write to you in your capacity as counsel for the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. It has come to my attention that yesterday Commissioner Rebecca Zatella sent a group email to Senator Dana Pohanke and several other elected officials requesting feedback on proposed mapping changes as part of the commission's public comment period. As you know, independence is at the very core of the commission work. The members of the Senate Democratic Caucus deeply respect the independent nature of this process and wish to avoid any potential appearance of self-interest as the commission considers changes to communities in their district. As such, we decline the invitation to provide comments. So this is how this situation came to the attention of the commission. The background is that Commissioner Zatella sent out these emails to, as the letters say, elected officials, some in the county and townships, and two or more in the state Senate or representatives, saying that in essence we were mapping, and that if you want to see what we're doing, here's a link, go look at it. And if you want to see what Commissioner Zatella, was doing, go look at this. Now, soliciting such input, we've certainly had a lot of input in the public, people coming in. We've had elected representatives come in and say this. I'm not aware that we have taken the liberty on our own email, not our state email, but our own email, and sent letters out requesting comments. That's really not the issue. The issue is, by Commissioner Zatella doing that, the people who wrote these letters obviously think that there may be something wrong. And so it's not that it is wrong. What it is it makes it look like it's wrong. In other words, it's the appearance of not being transparent. its appearance of trying of one commissioner and thus all commissioners trying to put their thumb on the scale and tip the balance somehow in favor of some preferred elected official. Clearly, that's not something that we as the commission condone, at least I don't think we do, and it's certainly not within our rules that we're supposed to do that. So this is what has come out, and I certainly wanted, I mean, all the mapping is done now, hopefully. So the point of this report is to draw the attention of the commission and the public, because this is a public record now, that we as a commissioner, at least certainly I as a commissioner, did not condone this type of activity. It draws an inference that it's not as transparent as it should be and not appropriate. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Lett. Commissioner Wagner.
Yes, and Commissioner Lett, I have a question, and forgive me, I've been sick, but did you provide those letters that you received to the rest of us? And if you did, can you direct me to which email to find them in, please?
Direct you to which, or where to find them?
Yes, if you have sent them to us.
I don't believe that these were published. Nate, were these sent out to everybody? The letters.
The letters that you referenced, yeah, they were shared with the commission.
Okay.
I can get you the dates.
Thank you.
They were forwarded on when I or the letter that I had got from the Senate General Counsel.
And as for them to be published, you're only a liaison, Commissioner Lett. Your rank is no more than the rest of us. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Zatello.
Yeah, Commissioner Lett, just for the public record, I provided copies of both emails to the full commission. Do you have copies of those emails, Commissioner Lett?
Yes, I do have copies of them.
So how did I request that people provide their feedback in those emails?
You told them that they could comment back and gave them the emails and how to do it. You requested that they take a look at those, look at the ones that we were doing and look at the ones that you were doing and provide any feedback they thought appropriate.
I asked them to provide feedback via the public comment portal or directly on the maps. Not to me specifically. I specifically directed them to the public comment portal or to go to maps and put comments there, or they could email us at redistricting@michigan.gov and provide comments there. So at no point did I ask them to respond back to me at all. I asked them, alerted them to the fact that maps are happening, asked them to provide their feedback, and told them how to provide it to the full commission, not to me. I also want to point out that the Constitution specifically says in Section 11, a commissioner may communicate about redistricting matters with members of the public to gain information relevant to performance of his or her duties if such communication occurs in writing, which is exactly what I did. Not only is it acceptable, it's expected and authorized under the Constitution. In my area, there was little to no communications going out about the fact that we were redistricting. And those redistricting plans were going to affect the communities that I live in. I don't think there's anything inappropriate to reaching out to my township supervisor, my township clerk, and the township clerks and supervisors in other communities, along with the people who are in the House or Senate, to advise them that this is happening and seek feedback. And my intention with that is that they would communicate with their constituents and advise people to provide feedback, which is what I was looking for. I am not the person who draws maps for politicians. There's actually no evidence that anything like that has ever occurred with me. What I was simply trying to do is to gain information relevant to the performance of my duties, which is the decision on which map to vote for. I will also point out that at the time that I sent out that communication, we had draft maps in place. We weren't currently drawing maps. And the purpose of it was to find out Did they want Plymouth with Canton? Did they want Plymouth with Livonia? Did they want Plymouth with Westland? Did they want Plymouth with Van Buren Township? What was their preferred configuration of the area, people who live in that community? And the fastest way to get that message out, since our communications department was not targeting any communications towards the people who lived in that area, was to reach out to the politicians because they already have a built-in network that would allow people in the community to comment to the commission in whole, not to me directly. And then I would also point out that we've had multiple situations where we've had particular commissioners who have done the same thing. And Anthony Eade in particular has been on Twitter and on Reddit asking people to provide feedback. And nobody's ever complained about that. He had a meeting where he specifically was pushing a particular map, which actually isn't prohibited under our rules. So there's no concerns here. You're making much ado about nothing. This is personally motivated to try to slander me for doing my job and doing something that's expressly authorized under the commission's rules and under the Constitution.
Well, as I said in my report, what you did is not the question. The result is what is the question. And I didn't write the letters. Obviously, somebody thought that whatever you put out there wasn't appropriate and wrote letters to the executive director and to the attorney saying that this did, in essence, this did not appear to be appropriate and wasn't very transparent. So while you may have had the all of the good intentions that you just claimed, the way you went about it didn't work very well, because we got a letter from the general counsel of the state Senate and the AFL-CIO commission. You know, it didn't work, and it looks bad. It's not a good look.
It's your opinion that it didn't work. It's your opinion it didn't look.
Point of order.
Yeah, this is just a personal attack, and it's a violation of our rules of conduct.
It is not a violation of your rules.
You're using
as you said
you're using your
earlier,
liaison role to
Commissioner Zitella,
personally attack someone. That's what you're doing.
Oh, Commissioner Eade, this is hard for our sign language interpreters, so we need something to take place, please.
They could give me the ability to mute once again. That would be great. Commissioner Orton.
Yeah, I don't see this as a personal attack. I was very concerned when I received copies of the letters from the AFL-CIO person and the general counsel for the Senate. That is very concerning to me. We do have the ability to, in writing, communicate with public, but not elected officials. I thought it was clearly understood by all of us that we don't communicate with elected officials about mapping. And I just find it very concerning. And the fact that two people told on this situation leads me to wonder how many others were there that didn't tell and that just took their own action. It's just really concerning, because it does make it look like we as a commission are not being transparent, and deals are going on or something. And I don't like that at all.
Commissioner Callahan. Commissioner Callahan, we cannot hear you.
I'm sorry,
There you go.
I said appearances matter. And while technically, as Commissioner Lett said, there may have been no violation of the strict rules, by appearances, there definitely was a less than forthcoming and transparent mode of working. The fact that the contact was made to elected officials on personal email without copying any other members of the commission just looks bad. It's tainted. It taints the whole commission. If we want to maintain the trust of the citizens of the state of Michigan, we have to be above those kinds of actions. What we do matters. The appearance matters. Else we lose the trust of the state. And that taints the commission, not just for us, but for all the commissions that come after us. So it was completely inappropriate. It was it was really a betrayal of the other commission members because it makes us all look bad. Now the whole public is sitting out there saying, well, what are the other commissioners doing that we just didn't get an email about? It doesn't look good. Whether it's technically against the rule or not, I think you knew it didn't look good, which is why it went on a personal email. So it was just inappropriate. I'm very disappointed that that happened.
All right, Commissioner Zatella.
Yeah, it's astonishing to me that in the same meeting where we were talking about a notice dealing with a commissioner who was alleged to have drawn districts for candidates of office, and you had no concerns with that. You wouldn't even hold a hearing on it, for crying out loud. You are actually accusing someone of being inappropriate for following the Constitution and seeking feedback in writing. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say politicians are not members of the public. And we have had many, many politicians come and provide feedback to us. If you remember, there were literally people losing their minds about Molinar contacting us. And I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name who ran for, I think it was Attorney General Governor at one point, who was a Republican, also came and provided feedback to us. So politicians are members of the public. Candidates of office are members of the public. The point where it crosses the line is when you're drawing districts for them, which is what somebody else did, and nobody is real concerned about that. That is what damages the reputation of the commission. Again, this is just a witch hunt. This is an attempt to make you guys feel better, to try to find something bad that I supposedly did, because you're still all mad that I testified against you in the AG trial. That's the only way I see it.
Accusations, Commissioner Zatella, those are baseless accusations. No.
All right, everyone. Since my name was brought up, I'll just respond quickly. The allegations that Commissioner Zatella was alleged only by her, and y'all can go read the response that I put out about them. They're false. They're completely slanderous. She's just trying to make false equivalencies that don't exist, and we already dealt with them. Nothing that I've done has resulted in a Senate lawyer or anyone else emailing us. So I don't appreciate the false equivalencies, and I think we all see through it. I'm going to go to Commissioner Kellum, and then I'd appreciate if we can move on from this topic. I think everybody has made their point loud and clear by now. If we want to do something as a commission further about this, we can, or we can leave it be as it is after having this discussion. I do appreciate the comments that everyone made, and I appreciate everyone trying to keep them as tame as possible. Commissioner Kellum.
I just wanted to add very quickly, I am not mad at your personal decision to do whatever you want to do in terms of fighting for the maps, the old maps, not fighting for the maps, whatever the case. That is water under the bridge. I think, though, the distrust that Commissioner Zatella continues to have and hangs on to the fact that it's something personal was driven by her decision to, so not invite us. Like if Commissioner Zatella had decided to ask the other commissioners, like, hey, this is something that I'm thinking about, or if there was more trust in the commission to invite us in the process of and actually be collaborative of the maps, I think that would have been a totally different situation. But the decision to specifically seek in a deceptive way opinions of political figures, I think is unconscionable. And I know that there were allegations that I did that. I don't like to beat around the bush, so I'm going to be that's just completely baseless. I'm going to just be very upfront. There's no proof. You all could look into my background, look into the relationships that I have with people. I always share what I know, just like I shared my feelings about the Crane map and where that came from. So it wasn't just a couple of commissioners that found fault with that decision, Commissioner Zatella. It was just about the whole commission, maybe with the exception of, I can't speak for Commissioner Wagner or Commissioner Lang, but I know everyone had very strong feelings. And if it was up to me, you wouldn't have been able to participate because it's a conflict of interest in our map process. I did not feel comfortable, though I had positive feelings about your map. I did not feel comfortable with you engaging in that process because you talk quite specifically and frequently about how decisions are made. You map offline. And so it was a horrible look and very hypocritical of you to champion and petition for Anthony Eads' removal, Commissioner Eads' removal for whoever he contacts. And then here you are sending emails. So if it was something that was in the constitutional rules, you would have felt very comfortable telling us that initially, but you didn't. And then you did try to save face by having all these follow-up emails with people and you were caught. And so that's okay, but I just wish that you could use this opportunity to not say it's a witch hunt, it's slander. These are the facts. You sent the email, you didn't ask anybody, we weren't supposed to do this, and you would hang someone by their toenails, Commissioner, to tell if they did that. So we're just holding you accountable and making it public. Thank you.
Commissioner Zatella.
So I'm not sure what you're talking about with all these emails that I supposedly sent. That's fiction. I sent one email to people from Plymouth Canton, one email to Inkster. That's it. And I didn't email anybody on the commission about it. Why would I? I don't need to. We can communicate with the public however we want, as long as it's in writing, which frankly is something I've done before because I actually reached out to members of the Jewish community during our last mapping and actually had a editorial published in the Jewish News where I was seeking feedback relative to our maps then too. Again, no one had a problem with it then. So this is simply more of the same. This is behavior that is specifically allowed under the Constitution. You reach out to members of the public, which includes political officials, by the way. You ask for their feedback. You're trying to gain information relevant to your job, which is exactly what I was doing. And I directed them to provide comments via the public comment portal and as well via the map itself, where you can click and add comments there. And then they could also email redistricting@michigan.gov. There's nothing inappropriate about that whatsoever. And, you know, all the shade that's been thrown during this meeting, you guys, on one hand, when it's thrown at someone else, you're all up, your hackles are all up. But it's, again, been a consistent pattern of it's okay to bash on Commissioner Lang, Commissioner Wagner, or myself repeatedly since the trial. It's a very clear pattern. So yeah, I did nothing inappropriate. I honestly don't really care if you guys think I did, because I know I'm following the Constitution. And, you know, I don't really care if you think it's inappropriate or not. This is more for the public, because there's nothing inappropriate about what I did. And everybody knows it. We're allowed to reach out to members of the public, just like Commissioner E did with the Chaldean community. You had no issues with that. You had no issues with him talking to the guy from Taylor over the telephone either. The guy admitted it in the meeting that he had spoken with Commissioner Eade about mapping the Taylor area. No concerns there, even though that was not in writing. But again, you want to selectively point out something I did following the Constitution. It's just ridiculous.
Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zatella, for your opinion. The problem I see is we had two other individuals who you sent letters to who have given their opinion that you did something wrong or questionable. So I guess that's all you have to look at and then form your own opinion from there. Thank you.
All right. I just got to add for the record, the phone call I got from the gentleman from Taylor, we did not discuss mapping issues. I told him, I directed him to the website to our posted meeting notice so he could come and talk to us in person, let the whole commission know what he thought.
So you did the same thing I did in the email.
matters.
You did the same thing I did in the email. Thanks.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Lett, for your reports. Please keep us updated on if anything else happens about this matter in the future. We'll now move on to item 12, future agenda items. Are there any agenda items commissioners would like to have added to future agendas? I just have one. During this process, we did a lot of public engagement to areas, including Westland, and but lots of areas within the Tri-County Metro Detroit area, and I'd like to see where everyone did a presentation at, spoke, that kind of thing. Can we get that, Mr. Woods?
Yes, we have a request out to one of our vendors to verify that what we have is there. And I actually did have some of that as part of my report today, but time didn't do it. So yes, we can do that for August. And we'll make it an agenda item under new business so everyone can see it.
Wonderful. It might be a good idea once we hear from the court on if they affirm the map that the commission adopted or not to update those community members on if that happens.
Sure.
MDOS updates.
I would be remiss if I did not provide a reminder in Sarah's place that early voting for the August primary begins on July 27th. If not sooner, that is the constitutionally mandated period. And the primary election date is August 6th. If you need any information about where you need to vote, how to vote, absentee ballot voting, who's on your ballot, please go to michigan.gov/vote to get all of that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shar. Get out and vote, everybody. It is a privilege that we are lucky to have. Correspondence, if any was available, was received in advance of our meeting today, along with written public comments to commissioners. We'll now move on to announcements. Are there any announcements?
Yes, Commissioner Eid.
Go ahead, Mr. Woods.
Thank you. Just want to remind everyone that the next commission meeting is Thursday, August 15th. Thursday, August 15th at 10 a.m. and it will be a virtual meeting. Just so we're all on the same page. Once again, Thursday, August 15th at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. As the items on the agenda are complete and the commission has no further business, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Lett, seconded by Commissioner Weiss. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. We are